I never thought I'd learn the truth about my fiancé at a party filled with people who claim to love us both. But looking back, it makes sense. Truth rarely arrives in private. It shows up where masks feel safest. My name is Daniel. I was engaged to Emily for almost 2 years. We'd been together for 5. Long enough to build routines, shared friends, and plans that felt permanent. She was expressive, social, always the center of attention. I was quieter. The one who handled logistics, fixed problems, made things steady. We balanced each other. At least that's what I believed. The party was for her promotion. A rented hall, open bar, familiar faces. My best friend Ryan was there too. We'd known each other since college. He was the kind of guy everyone liked. Charismatic, confident, never crossed lines. I trusted him completely. Trusted them both. At some point in the night, Emily disappeared from my side. I didn't think much of it. She floated. That was her nature. I was talking with a coworker when the music changed and the crowd shifted. That's when I saw them. Emily and Ryan were standing near the edge of the dance floor. Close. Too close. I remember noticing her hand on his chest first. Then her laugh. And then, without hesitation, she leaned in and kissed him. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't quick. It was deliberate enough that a few people nearby noticed and went quiet. Someone laughed awkwardly, assuming it was a joke. Someone else looked in my direction, eyes wide, waiting for a reaction. I didn't move. In that moment, something settled inside me. No anger. No urge to confront. Just clarity. The kind that erases doubt instead of creating it. I realized I was watching a choice being made. Not just by her. By me. Emily pulled back, still smiling, until she saw me. The smile faded. Ryan stepped away immediately, hands up, already forming excuses I didn't need to hear. I reached into my pocket and felt the small velvet box. The ring inside it suddenly felt heavier than it ever had before. I walked toward the table where we'd left our things. Emily called my name. Once. Twice. I didn't turn around. I placed the ring gently on the table, right where she'd see it, and kept walking. Behind me, the music continued. Laughter resumed. The party didn't stop. But everything else did. I stepped outside into the cool night air and stood there for a moment, letting the noise fade behind me. My phone buzzed almost immediately. Emily. I didn't answer. Not because I wanted to punish her, but because I didn't trust myself to hear explanations that would only complicate something that was suddenly very simple. A few minutes later, Ryan came out. He didn't come too close. He knew better. He looked shaken, embarrassed, like someone who just realized a single decision had cost him more than he expected. Daniel, he said. It wasn't. I raised my hand gently. Not in anger. In closure. Don't, I said. Whatever you're about to say is for you, not for me. He nodded, swallowing hard. That was the last real conversation we ever had. I drove home alone. The apartment felt unfamiliar without the idea of her coming back to it. Her shoes by the door. Her jacket on the chair. I didn't touch anything. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall, replaying the moment over and over. Not the kiss, but what came before it. The subtle dismissals. The way she teased me in front of friends. The small boundaries she crossed and laughed off when I noticed. I realized the kiss hadn't ended the relationship. It had revealed it. Emily showed up the next morning. She looked exhausted. Eyes red. Voice unsteady. She said it was a mistake. That she'd had too much to drink. That Ryan meant nothing. That she loved me. Each sentence was carefully chosen. Like stepping stones across a river she hoped I'd help her cross. I listened. I didn't interrupt. When she finished, there was a long silence. I believe you, I said finally. Her shoulders dropped in relief. I believe you didn't plan it. She smiled weakly. I continued. But I also believe that someone who respects me doesn't put me in that position. And someone who loves me doesn't need alcohol to forget where the line is. Her expression changed. Not anger. Something closer to fear. The realization that this wasn't an argument. It was an ending. She asked if we could fix it. If we could go to counseling. If I'd at least think about it. I did, I said. Last night. She left quietly. No screaming. No scene. Just the sound of a door closing on a future that no longer fit. That night I slept better than I had in months. In the days that followed, people reached out. Mutual friends. Her family. Even mine. Everyone wanted context. Everyone wanted to soften it, reframe it, turn it into something manageable. I kept my responses short. It didn't feel right anymore. That was the truth. The whole truth didn't need an audience. Ryan tried once more. A long message about loyalty, mistakes, how he hated himself for it. I didn't reply. Friendship, I learned, isn't tested in moments of temptation. It's tested in moments where you know exactly what you're risking and do it anyway. Emily sent messages too. Apologies mixed with nostalgia. Photos from trips we took. Inside jokes. Plans we never finished. I didn't block her. I didn't need to. Silence was enough. Silence isn't cruelty. It's clarity when words would only blur the line. What surprised me most was the calm. I expected regret, loneliness, maybe even panic. Instead, there was a quiet steadiness, like I'd been carrying something heavy for a long time without realizing it, and finally set it down. I started noticing things again. Mornings without tension, evenings without walking on eggshells. The absence of doubt was louder than any argument we'd ever had. A few weeks later, I went back to that same venue for a work event. Different crowd, different music, same room. I stood near the spot where I'd seen the kiss happen and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just distance. That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. People think walking away is weakness. That staying and working it out is strength. Sometimes it is. But sometimes strength is knowing when respect has been spent and refusing to negotiate for it back. I never asked for the ring again. I didn't need the symbol. Leaving it behind wasn't a message to her. It was a promise to myself that I wouldn't build a future on something that had already shown me its cracks. I don't hate Emily. I don't hate Ryan either. Hate keeps you tied to moments that should stay in the past. I chose something else. I chose distance. I chose dignity. I chose a life where I don't have to question whether I'm being respected in the room I'm standing in. Some endings don't need closure conversations or dramatic exits. Some endings are quiet, deliberate, and permanent. I walked away that night without looking back. And I've never needed to since.